Good Monday evening. Welcome to BCP Live, a presentation of the Bryan County Patriot. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad that you are with us tonight. Very thankful to have with me on the show, on this first show of this new week, Mike Davis, who has started something very special, I believe, in the area. And so, Mike, I want to go ahead and get right into what you have going on. You started the Texoma Pandemic Partners page. And my wife in my house saw it first. Mrs. Patriot saw it first, and I believe she joined, and she told me about it. And I knew it wasn't long after you got started that I joined as well, because I think you have some really good things that you're able to do there and that are taking place. So let's get right into it. How did you come up with this idea? What prompted you to do this?
Yeah, so I work at the university, and I have a lot of friends and colleagues who, as we started worrying about the virus and how it would affect our lives, we of course learned that it affected people with immune deficiency particularly severely, people of older ages particularly severely. And what happened was we were worried about making sure people with those vulnerabilities wouldn't have to leave their house and wouldn't have to go to the store and be around people and kind of expose themselves to maybe possibly getting infected. And it literally started just as a way to keep our friends connected with other people in the community who maybe could go run errands for them, get groceries, get medicine, refill prescriptions. I did not, in my wildest dreams, expect that it would be as big as it is now. And but it started really just as I wanted it to be a platform for people to communicate with folks who could run errands for them. It has turned into something much bigger and much more sweeping than we ever really thought.
My goodness, yes, it really has become something big. And I saw the numbers just before we came on the air just a few moments ago, 7,155 members, and probably even more as we're talking. Who knows? I mean, you're growing at a phenomenal rate. And yeah. I think it's a testament, though, to a good idea, number one, and to the way things have been run. I mean, it does seem to be going very smoothly, and you are meeting some needs. Do you remember what day that was? What was it? How long ago? What day did it start on?
Almost a month ago today. I think we went live with the group on maybe March 12th or 13th. So yeah, I mean, time flies, I guess, but it's been live for approximately 1 month.
Well, talk about some of the things then that have taken place. I think one of the biggest things that I saw, and again, everything is relative, because I know when you do something, or when the people who are on here do something for an individual, it's huge for that person. One of the things that stood out to me was when you all got involved with Asian Gourmet. Yep. And that was posted there. And I know that a number of folks have not only volunteered, but obviously benefited from that. That was a big one that stood out to me. Talk about some of the stories that people have from that they benefited from this.
Yeah, I'll highlight about three in particular. The first, just within the first few days of the group being formed, we had, I think, 1,500 members within 3 or 4 days in the group. And some of the first needs were, not necessarily people who were vulnerable for any particular reason, but because people had to stay home from work and were taking care of kids, maybe were, in a unique circumstance where it wasn't easy to leave the house anyway. And so I went and ran a grocery shopping errand for, a single mom with several kids at home who just didn't feel like she had the ability to put everybody in the car and go make a run to the store. And that was, relatively simple, but it turned into so many people making requests that we had to start keeping a small spreadsheet. I keep it on my phone, and keeping track of who needs errands run for them and who's volunteering to run those errands. Early on, Greg Phillips had the idea, working with Asian Gourmet, about doing meal delivery for the elderly, particularly in town, especially in the retirement villages around town, Larkspur Village and others. And some of the people involved in that were Greg Phillips, Don Crumey, Emily Hudgens, I volunteered, but I cannot say that I was one of the ringleaders of organizing it. But I think that's a testament to the way that the group works. Is it's all organic. If you want to use the group to do some kind of volunteerism locally, or to offer something to the community, you can just post it there, and you don't need me or any of the other admins of the group to manage anything. And that was the beauty of it, is that was the first moment we realized, hey, what started out as a simple Facebook page can be utilized in any number of different ways. And very rightfully, Asian Gourmet and Mr. Yu, the owner, have really done a great service for the community, using the page just as leverage to get the word out about the service they were providing.
And a fantastic service at that. You talk about the fact that this is something that can be done on its own, but I have to commend you for what I've seen from this page, that it hasn't turned into a gossip site or a place for people to air not only their dirty laundry, but somebody else's, as the case may be. And I think it really has, it stayed true, I would imagine, I believe, to what it was meant to do.
It has, and I will admit some growing pains. I had to add a bunch of moderators early on, because it grew with thousands of people making random comments, and especially as shopping became a little bit tenuous in town, as I'm sure it did in many parts of the country. Some things started being, I won't say abused on it, but some people were getting a little bit outlandish, and so we changed it where we moderate comments a little bit more strictly. I added 5 or 6 really good, really solid, trustworthy people to moderate the page. And mostly we've been hands off. People in the community have come together, and most everybody is very nice, very considerate. We've had very few issues, but we tightened up a little bit on the page to make sure it was serving its purpose, and we will continue to do that.
And well, you should. And again, it comes across that way. It comes across as something that's positive. I stop by there regularly, as tried to promote a couple of times even here on BCP Live of what you all have going on, and hopefully maybe you've done a little bit to help. But that having been said, though, I mean, it really, I want to say how positive it is, and I just wanted to give you guys as many props as possible without sounding like a sycophant, or anything like that. But I really appreciate what is going on. So if someone gets on and they join and they become a member, not only to watch what's going on, how do they volunteer?
Yeah. The spreadsheet that I've been keeping, and like I say, I keep it in my phone. That way it's always handy, because I'm checking the group, probably 10 or 12 times a day at least. If people want to volunteer, really, honestly, the best way is to just direct message one of the admins on the group. You can also post and just say, hey, I'm willing to deliver meals. And of course, we'll contact you and add you to our spreadsheet. And then when a need comes up, usually I just use Facebook Messenger and I say, hey, we've got a need at this address on this day. Can you do it? And people, have been very gracious in being flexible with their time. And one of the most important things is just fronting the cash. Go and get the groceries and then maybe get paid by someone on delivery. And that has worked really, really well to, reduce contact between the person running the errand and the person receiving the service. As it stands right now, we've, at least as far as I've logged myself, we have about 15 people who have really been doing the lion's share of the work in terms of running those errands for more than 100 different people that they've been serving. And that's in addition to all the other things that people have independently used the group to do. And I want to highlight, many of the people are using the group to make and deliver face masks, selling them at cost, maybe $5 a piece, the cost of the fabric. I've had nothing to do with that. Nobody who formed the group had anything to do with that. It's just that people are finding ways that they can serve their community, and they're using, this page with thousands of members as their mechanism to contact people and help people and serve others.
Well, it's coming across very well. Again, speaking now with Mike Davis, who has founded and started up Texoma Pandemic Partners. And there's the Facebook page on your screen. So if you are looking for it, that's what it looks like. It looks like a picture of, where is that? Downtown Durant, right here in Bryan County?
You know, it is. It's downtown Durant, probably the second block or third block. I think the photo was originally taken by Matt Swearingen. I don't know if I stole it from him or not, but I'll give him credit for it.
All right. Well, hey, listen, we do want to give him at least a verbal cut line there and go from there. So in the future, as this goes on, and one of the things that I look to be speaking about here on BCP Live in the next few days and even a little bit tonight is we do need to continue to look to the future. We always want to walk, and I've been saying here on this platform, we walk in wisdom, we walk with discretion in what we're doing, but we don't want to walk in fear, and we do need to have that hope to look ahead. So as we look ahead, what is the longevity of a page like this? How long does something like this go on, and what do you see with that?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we did have somebody comment on there about a week ago saying, hey, what's going to happen with this page when the pandemic's over? And you know, my comment was, well, suggest new names for the group, but we're definitely going to, you know, keep it up as a community service forum. And one of the names that was suggested once the pandemic is over, we just switch it over to call it Texoma Community Partners. And we can use the group to do community service projects. Obviously, it can be used to solicit help if everybody wants to show up at a certain time or place. And that's exactly how it's been used by Asian Gourmet and others. And so let's use it to clean town. Let's use it to, you know, get people wherever we need them for whatever purpose. I'm sure that the municipal government can use it to ask for people to volunteer. I certainly fully intend to use it for cleanliness projects and picking up, you know, ditches and streets around town in the future. There are a lot of people that are already thinking about ways that you can utilize a group that was, you know, created and already is organically spawning different service projects around town. So it'll last, you know, as far as I'm concerned, forever. And it will always be open for anyone to post. Nobody's going to, you know, monopolize the space. Nobody's going to use it for their own political purposes. Absolutely not. We're going to keep it open to the community. We're going to keep it well moderated and an open forum for anyone who wants to serve their fellow man.
Well, a shout out then to those moderators because they are doing a fantastic job, and I commend them for the work that they're doing. And that's not always an easy thing to do. So definitely want to give them a shout out for that. Mike, really quickly, as we wrap up our time, and again, thank you so much for stopping by and being with me on BCP Live tonight. I know on your Facebook page and just when I was making sure I was contacting the right person, I know we've kind of gone back and forth with a couple of comments here and there. I like the picture with the OBA Board of Governors there. So on the Oklahoma Bar Association, how about that? Somebody right here in Bryan County who's a member in District 2 there on the Oklahoma Bar Association. What are you doing here in Bryan County as your day job? If this isn't your day job now, because it's I guess going to become that.
No, you wouldn't think running a Facebook page would monopolize your life, but it has become quite the chore lately. Luckily, I'm working from home. I work full-time for Southeastern Oklahoma State University. I'm an assistant professor of criminal justice and an assistant to the president there. You know, as you've noted, I'm a licensed attorney. I have been since 2013, went to the University of Oklahoma College of Law, and followed in the footsteps of several local people who have already served on the Board of Governors of the Bar Association, including Pat Phelps. It's a 3-year term. It's elected. I was elected by my fellow members of the bar, fellow attorneys. Just started my term this year. I'm very excited about it. We've started having our meetings remotely for obvious reasons. But, you know, I look forward to, you know, serving the state of Oklahoma and serving my fellow attorneys as a member of the governing board. It's a high honor and distinction and something that I take very, very seriously.
Well, thank you for representing this district. And from my perspective, it looks like you're doing a fantastic job. The first year of 3 in that position. So I wish you well, Mike, and definitely please continue the work. And if there's anything that we can do with the Bryan County Patriot to assist you or to help in some way, it looks like you're getting the job done anyway. But if there's some way that we can help, I definitely want to do that.
Well, I appreciate that, Joey, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak with you today.
All right, Mike Davis with Texoma Pandemic Partners, and I hope the time comes soon when you get to shift that name. But I know you're going to continue doing great work. Thank you very much for taking time with us tonight.
Thank you.
That, again, is Mike Davis, and we appreciate that. And definitely, I know there are lots of folks watching, which, by the way, and shouting out to everyone for joining in tonight. Jacelyn, Kristen, Heather, thank you all. Brent and Lindsay, and getting a text or two along the way. Sean, Austin, Kyle. How about that? President Kyle joining tonight. Shout out very much. So from the northeastern Oklahoma area, and Ronnie and Paula, Jennifer as well, thank you very much for stopping by and being a part of the broadcast tonight. Well, that was the main part, so we'll get into a few other things here really quickly. It is day 19 of not a lockdown, but it is a shutdown in the area, and I don't know how many folks are going stir crazy just yet. I hope no one, but the kids are starting to want to get out and about. We'll talk about that and a few more things later on. Shout outs. Actually, before I get to the shout out, let me give you a quiz really quickly and see where everyone is on this. Okay, so we'll get the answer in just a moment. So let's give a quiz tonight. From the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, for how many freedoms does the First Amendment provide? How many freedoms does the First Amendment provide? Just throwing that one out there, okay? Let me know in the comments if you know what that is. Now, if you've had me as an instructor, especially as a journalism instructor, but if you've had me as an instructor in maybe one of the classes, I don't know, I taught American history and government. I think I had government for 1 year too. I know I did have government for 1 year, but specifically journalism, that was a recent one. For how many freedoms does the First Amendment provide? Let me know in the comments section and we'll see if you're listening. Shout out tonight to our advertisers and sponsors. And we could not go on without our advertisers and sponsors. And I just want to say how thankful I am for all of you. If you are an advertiser or sponsor for the Bryan County Patriot, the online webpage, you are helping with this broadcast as well. And I do want to say thanks to Kara with the Blue Zones project, to Matt and Darla, Omnicare 365. Had a great opportunity to visit with them last week. Greg and Crystal with Hausner's. I want to give a shout out to Susan, who, by the way, is already in the comment section tonight. Texoma Engraving, and I'm going to be stopping by there tomorrow. Blake with Blake Utter Ford, and Larry and Letitia at and all the folks at SNL Collision. Shout out to you all. Thank you very much for being advertisers and sponsors. All right, don't forget that the Bryan County Health Department is still doing testing, curbside testing. It is by appointment only. It is free, and you just need to call and make that appointment at 580-924-4285, 580-924-4285. Say it with me now, 580-924-4285. The United States in number of positive confirmed cases of COVID-19 or the coronavirus. There you are. I think I just got the left foot of fellowship from YouTube. By the way, we're broadcasting not only on Facebook tonight, but on the YouTube channel as well. Both of these things are growing. We do have more subscribers now to the Bryan County Patriot YouTube channel, where you can watch the steer. It's the latest video prior to tonight's video. The steer from the branding iron, formerly Sirloin Stockade, way back in the day. You can see it come down from its perch there on Main Street and get in the back of into the trailer, Brady Baskin's trailer there, and that was one of the videos. But anyway, the Bryan County Patriot YouTube channel is growing. The Facebook page is getting more likes all the time, headed for the 2,000 mark, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for liking the page and following the page and whatever the case may be. Ronnie, I see that you posted a guess, and I will get back to that here in just a moment. So there's one guess online as to how many freedoms the First Amendment provides. The United States is now, as of tonight, and this is just a few hours ago, past 682,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 within the borders. Oklahoma is 29th in the country in number of confirmed positive cases with 2,069. 20 of those are from birth to four-year-olds, and 696 are of people who are 65 years old or older. 94 deaths. That is 24th in the country in the number of deaths that have been reported. A fourth case has now been reported in Bryan County, and oddly enough, that makes people happy. Some people, not all people, but oddly enough, it makes some people happy. And I think it is because that another person was reported, because it just looks, see, we've known all along there were people out there walking around in Bryan County. And there have been so many cases that were negative that, anyway, another case has been reported. Kendra, want to say hi to you. And Kendra, I've called a couple of times. I'm going to keep on calling, so I've left a couple of messages. Just want you to know I haven't forgotten about you. So I'll call again tomorrow, and we will get in touch regarding people first. So there's that. All right. Obituaries, and there have been a few of those in recent days on the Bryan County Patriot. I want to point out again, the Bryan County Patriot posts obituaries for free, and we've gotten in contact with local funeral homes throughout Bryan County and beyond, and all around to the north, south, and east and west of Bryan County, and spoken with the funeral home there. We do have a setup to where we can put obituaries in. We edit them for AP style so that they look good in a newspaper format, and they are posted for free. And I want to give another shout out to the advertisers and to the sponsors of the Bryan County Patriot, because without you, we could not do this. And so we are doing this as a community service. Now, in light of that, I want to lead into something and tease this for a little bit later on this week. There is a difference between dying of COVID-19 and dying with COVID-19. Let me say that again. There is a difference between dying of COVID-19 and dying with COVID-19. And it's interesting to see how some of these deaths and death certificates are going forward, with COVID-19 being something that is listed as a cause of death. And what does that do to the numbers of those patients, in people who have passed on in the United States, either of COVID-19 or with COVID-19, and how is this listed? We talked a couple of weeks ago about ratios and fractions and how they're determined. And we talked about the fact that the number, or the percentage of people who have died because of COVID-19 is probably a smaller ratio, because there are so many people out there who may have been infected with COVID-19, but we don't know yet because they either haven't been tested, the tests haven't come back, and so that denominator, that number on the bottom, is bigger than what's probably listed. I would submit to you, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on this week, maybe that number on the top is actually also smaller too, because of deaths that were listed dying with COVID-19 as opposed to dying of COVID-19. Again, bit of a teaser. We'll talk about that later on. Headlines that have been in the news. And we are cruising right on through this BCP Live tonight. Headlines that are in the news, things that have come up this weekend and today. How about this? This from the New York Times, the bastion of journalistic integrity. The New York Times. The coronavirus was slow to spread in rural America, but not anymore. That's right. We have to keep this thing going as long as absolutely possible. And by the way, the subheading of this story, the coronavirus is spreading deep into rural America. Doctors and officials warn it could overwhelm communities there, where residents tend to be, and get this, this is what the New York Times thinks of you, where residents tend to be older, poorer, and older, poorer, and sicker than much of the U.S., and they're already short on medical help. Let's break that down really quickly. Thank you, New York Times, for thinking so highly of us here in flyover country. So, Bryan County, here's what the New York Times thinks of you. Residents tend to be older, poorer, and sicker than much of the U.S. And here I was feeling so good about myself. I think that hurt my feelings. I don't feel that much older. And I had a meal today or two. I don't think I'm that much poorer. And I certainly don't feel, do I look sick to you? Maybe it's the lighting. I know sometimes this lighting makes me glow a little bit, but I wasn't feeling I was looking that much sicker. Anyway, so once again, doctors and officials warn it could overwhelm communities there where residents tend to be older, poorer, and sicker than much of the United States, and they're already short on medical help. Well, you know what? I think our medical help here is pretty good. That's all right. Ronnie says, well, I did shave. Thank you, Barbara. I agree. Maybe it'll keep them from moving here. Well, now you know what the New York Times thinks about you, just so you know. Again, the standard for journalism, it's the New York Times. How about this one? Fox News reported over the weekend. I love this headline, by the way, and the reason I'm going to give this headline is because it relates. Woman arrested for entering New Orleans airport naked amidst coronavirus lockdown. Woman arrested for entering New Orleans airport naked amidst coronavirus lockdown. I would think that should be a headline even if there wasn't coronavirus going on. If coronavirus wasn't going on, if there wasn't a coronavirus lockdown going on, would she not have been arrested if she entered a New Orleans airport naked? I don't know how these things work sometimes. Oh, and this, by the way, from NBC News. Starving, angry, and cannibalistic. America's rats are getting desperate amid coronavirus pandemic. So if it wasn't bad enough on us humans now, NBC News wants you to know it's tough on the rats too. They're starving, they're angry, and they're cannibalistic. By the way, it does quote in this NBC News story, I read part of it. Yes, I really felt the need to read part of it. I read part of it, and it quotes a local rodentologist. A local rodentologist. In case you were concerned that there wasn't such a thing, now you know there are such things as rodentologists out there. Anyway, all right. Local social media is on the scene, by the way. In case you were curious, we do have the local social media on the scene. I want to go back and commend, once again, I want to commend Mike Davis and Texoma Pandemic Partners for not becoming a gossip site. As the fourth positive case is confirmed in Bryan County, people want to know in what city does that person live and who has that person come in contact with. There are lots of folks who want to know these things, even though they're staying inside anyway. I don't know. And by the way, and I am curious about this, I will say this. First off, HIPAA laws keep most health centers and providers from revealing information. But the Grayson County Office of Emergency Management, their Facebook page has a lot of good information. By the way, they have a link on the Grayson County Office for Emergency Management that you can learn more about this COVID-19 and all that's going on throughout the state of Texas. It's a really cool site. It's a really cool link. And if it wasn't having to do with sickness, it would be even that much cooler, but it has lots of interesting stats there. Grayson County, for some reason, is able to provide more information about individuals than what we're seeing right here locally in Bryan County. And I don't know if it's a Texas thing or an Oklahoma thing. Maybe somebody can give me information on that. Hello, Susan. Glad you are online tonight with us as well. Shout out to Susan, to Melissa, Kenny, and some more. Kenny, by the way, we need to visit sometime soon. You have got some cool things happening as well. So we'll get in contact, Kenny. All right. Beyond the Bryan County borders, I want to throw a couple of things out here. This was online today, and there are a number of sites that have talked about this. It's interesting. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has put a lockdown on a lot of things. See, we don't have it that bad here in Oklahoma right now. According to the Michigan Executive Order 2020-42, and Oklahoma has an executive order that Governor Stitt has put forward, but Governor Whitmer from Michigan has put forward the Executive Order 2020-42, and folks have been posting this today, and it talks about the fact that you can't even buy seeds in Michigan now. You can't garden in Michigan. And I had to look this one up on my own to make sure, because I thought, man, there is just no way. Now, I realize that we are being tested. I'm jumping ahead in my notes here, but I want to point something out to you. We are being tested right now in this country. And I'm not being some kind of conspiracy nutcase here, but we are being tested. Don't think we're not. There are lots of folks in both parties, on both sides of the aisle, that are watching how we handle ourselves as there are more and more impingements on our freedom. We're watching how we handle this. How long will we stay in lockdown before we decide we've had enough? And people are watching us right now. Well, watch what's going on in Michigan. This was posted. You can't buy seeds in a store to grow your own food or paint for home repairs. That's all illegal. You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. Michiganders can still, I love that word, Michiganders. I think Oklahomans sounds a little easier than Michiganders. Michiganders can still, however, legally purchase marijuana, lottery tickets, and alcohol, which have been deemed essential. I don't know. I think the longer we stay in our homes. Anyway, Michigan Executive Order, and I did look this up, Michigan Executive Order 2020-42-A, subsection 8M11D2, and this is regarding things, it's a temporary requirement to suspend activities that are not necessary to sustain or protect life. To close areas of a store, this is in subsection 8M11D2, to close off areas of a store by cordoning them off, and I quote, placing signs in aisles, posting prominent signs, removing goods from shelves or other appropriate means that are dedicated to the following classes of goods. Carpet or flooring, you can't carpet your floors right now, or you can't do repairs on your floors. Furniture, I'm not kidding. Garden centers and plant nurseries, and paint. You want to look this up. It is Michigan Executive Order 2020-42, and you check out subsection 8M11D2. These are things that have been taken off the shelves. Garden centers and plant nurseries. Seeds fall into the garden centers and plant nurseries. I did see the picture online that was taken of a Walmart that had yellow tape around the garden centers. So you can't grow your own food now. Temporary requirement to suspend activities that are not necessary to sustain or protect life. Thank you, Barbara. Tell them to contact Oklahomans. We'll send them seeds. That's the way to get it done. Folks, we are being tested. We are being tested right now. No question. In South Dakota, we'll take it from the other side now. In South Dakota, by the way, Governor Kristi Noem announced statewide clinical trial of hydroxychloroquine to fight COVID-19. That's a statewide trial that's going on, so they are going to be testing those things in South Dakota. Good for them. Good for them to test those things there, and the governor is taking a stand. And by the way, if you're concerned about hydroxychloroquine, if you don't take it in the form of a fish tank cleaner, chances are you're going to do all right. Anyway, that's just the way that is. All right, one more thing too. You're talking about vaccinations right now. Talking about vaccinations, and be looking for this. you may have to provide some kind of certificate that you've been vaccinated if you want to go to public events in the future. Now, I know Bill Gates is talking about a lot of these things. So think about this. He's talking about a digital certificate. Okay? Digital certificate. Now, I don't know if that comes in the form of a microchip or whatever the case may be, but you may have to show some kind of vaccination card in the future if you want to go to some kind of sporting event. So just throwing that out there. That may be out there as well. Also, one other thing too that you want to look into, vitamin D. Now, I know the longer that we spend in time in these lockdowns right now, the longer we spend in the lockdowns, the more people stay inside, the less that you're getting vitamin D. So keep that in mind. Vitamin D is important to us. And the role of vitamin D is that it helps to assist the immune system. I don't know that that's going to necessarily keep the virus away entirely, but that's one of those things. Vitamin D, it assists the immune system. It contributes to calcium absorption, and it also helps your mood. You're not as likely to get depressed if you have enough vitamin C in your system. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here. We'll get to the First Amendment. I'll tell you what, I'll get to the First Amendment tomorrow. The proper answer, by the way, is 5. The First Amendment provides for five freedoms. 5 freedoms. And let's look at those. Let me see if I can get those here really quickly. 5 freedoms. There we go. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, so the freedom of religion, or the prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, freedom of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble, freedom to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The petition to redress grievances. So freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, and freedom to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So it's talking about the First Amendment and the rights that we have in that. Something to think about. We'll look into that a little bit more next time. I want to give a shout out to Mike Davis and say thank you very much for coming on the show tonight and being a part of the broadcast tonight. I appreciate that. And if you have not followed or looked into Texoma Pandemic Partners, you need to do that. Check that out. Shout out to Mike tonight and to everyone else for watching. I want to say thank you. God bless you. And remember this, we walk with wisdom. We walk and we use discretion, and we do not walk in fear. All right? We'll be back tomorrow. More on the way. God bless you and have a great night.